Recently, a homeschool mom asked a simple question in an online group. I've seen it many times over the years, so I want to share it with all of you. The question: does everyone complete all of Algebra 1 curriculum, or just 80 to 85% of it? As you can imagine, there were lots of responses. The responses were confident and varied. Some families said they finish every lesson, even if it takes longer than a traditional school year. Algebra is simply too foundational to cut short. Others said 80 to 85% is sufficient. They'll see it again in Algebra 2. Both sides care deeply about doing what is right for their children. But I believe we may be focusing on the wrong question. The real issue is not whether you finish 100% of the book, every single lesson. The real issue is whether the structure of Algebra 1 is truly solid. Today, I want to help you think through Algebra 1 completion in a way that protects your child's future math confidence, not just this year's schedule. If we haven't met before, hi, I'm Miss Beth of Math Mentor Tutoring. I'm a former public high school math teacher and a homeschool mom who has graduated 2 of my own students through the full high school math sequence and a third quickly approaching graduation. I've seen what happens when Algebra 1 is strong, and I've seen what happens when it's fragile. And trust me, the difference shows up in profound ways later. In this video, we're going to talk about why percentage completed is the wrong metric, what actually needs to be structurally solid in Algebra 1, what happens long-term if the foundation is weak, and if this topic feels personal for your family, I've written a full blog post that goes deeper. I'll link it below. Finishing 100% of a textbook does not automatically mean mastery, and stopping at 85% is not automatically harmful. So what do you need to consider? Well, what's in that remaining 15%? Some textbooks end with review or enrichment. Others end with factoring, quadratics, systems of equations. Not all chapters are equal. So instead of asking, do we finish the book? I encourage you to ask, is the structure solid? Before moving to Algebra 2, students need fluency with several core algebra topics: foundational knowledge and proficiency in working with exponents and polynomials, strong understanding of all that graphing linear functions includes, geometry connections, data and application. I go into these in more detail in the blog post that I referenced. If these are shaky, Algebra 2 won't feel like just a step up. It will feel impossible. And not because your child is not capable, but because Algebra 2 assumes those skills are automatic. So let me paint a picture for you. It's March. Your child is approximately 85% through Algebra 1. Every lesson feels heavy. Multi-step equations still take 20 minutes. Factoring feels like guesswork. Word problems end in frustration. There have been tears. There have been long nights. There have been conversations that start with, I just can't do this, Mom. And as a parent, you're starting to wonder, is finishing the last 15% worth this? Can we just move on? So you close the book, you award the credit, you breathe. Next year's geometry, and geometry feels better, more visual, more concrete, less symbolic strain. But underneath, Algebra 1 never fully solidified. Then comes the next decision point. It's time to begin Algebra 2. Because Algebra 2 assumes that factoring is automatic, solving equations is fluent, exponent rules are secure. If those pieces are fragile, Algebra 2 does not just feel difficult, it feels unreachable. So families pivot, maybe to financial math, consumer math, maybe something that feels more manageable. And here's where the long-term impact quietly appears. Many associate level programs, even non-math career paths like cosmetology, hospitality, welding, nursing, all these pathways require college algebra at a minimum, if not a higher amount. Even then, college algebra is, I would say, the equivalent or very close to it of high school algebra 2. Without algebra 2, doors start closing. And without algebra 2, a bachelor's degree pathway in most fields is also closed. Not because your child is incapable, but because a foundation that needed reinforcement way back in Algebra 1 was never repaired. So here's something families don't always anticipate. If Algebra 1 is weak and geometry comes next, geometry often does not require deep Algebra 1 fluency, so students can get through it. But during that year, those algebra skills that were so weak already fade. Then Algebra 2 begins, and now the foundation is both weak and dusty. Then when families pivot to alternative math credits out of discouragement instead of out of direction, more doors close, very quietly, but very quickly. So if Algebra 1 has felt heavier than it should, that is not a sign to start lowering the ceiling. It may be a sign to strengthen the structure. Sometimes the right move is not to push harder. It's to pause, assess, and repair specific foundational gaps so that moving forward with confidence is a possibility. That's not quitting. That's strategic rebuilding. If this conversation resonates with you, I invite you to read the full blog post. It goes deeper into how to evaluate Algebra 1 readiness and what to look for before moving into Algebra 2. I've linked it below, and if you would like help identifying the specific foundational gaps that may be keeping Algebra 1 a struggle, I offer structured readiness evaluations for homeschool families. You don't have to guess. You can get clarity. The goal is not to check off every single page. The goal is to prepare your child for success in Algebra 2, which becomes the portal to so many future opportunities. Strong foundations do more than support one course. They protect confidence. They protect options. They keep doors of opportunity opened. Build slowly if needed, but build solid. If this video helped you think more clearly about Algebra 1 completion, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.